Però se lei mi dice così sono ancora più tranquillo. No, if you want to come for lunch, la Sandra.
No, it's too hot.
This week we popped into Siena. I was looking for some fabric for the bedroom and bathroom. I've been many times before, but on this occasion, with the milky light and cornflower blue sky, I found myself thinking of Enid Blyton's classic tale of the magic faraway tree, where enchanted worlds would blow in on the clouds and hover above the highest branches of the tree, each magical land existing only for a few days or hours before the clouds would carry in the next one. The architecture in Siena feels to me like this, some fanciful fairy tale land suspended in its splendor over each piazza, almost too grand in size to be anything but a mystical illusion passing through this Tuscan town like a pastel pink and green windswept spell. Gianfranco did start the day with shoes and socks, but he's so accustomed to running around barefoot in the garden that he rips them off the moment I put them on. This city is stunning, but to be honest, even in this low season, Siena can feel a little overrun by tourists. It's not quite large enough to accommodate both Italians and day trippers. Many original families I know, or Guido knows, live outside the main historic town. If you ever find yourself in an Italian town that feels a little touristy and you're wondering where the Italians eat, it's often not in a trattoria and certainly not in a cafe overlooking the main piazza. There are very humble places that cook up a range of rustic hot dishes, vegetables, meats, pasta, that they serve to students, businessmen, and shop assistants who want a quick, wholesome, affordable meal. It doesn't cost you as much. You won't get fancy table service, but generally the staff are a lot less weary because they're not dealing with tourists, and the food is always seasonal and what Italians really eat rather than deferring to the foreign palate. On this day, they had pasta e fagioli, pasta and beans, pasta e ceci, pasta and chickpeas. We got steamed vegetables, mushroom risotto, crumbed chicken, oven-baked potatoes and tomatoes, turkey stuffed with spinach and ricotta, and roasted pumpkin. For dessert, if you're in Siena, you must get panforte, which is their specialty, and this one was a dark chocolate with cherries and chili. There were only Italians eating when we were there, probably because from the outside it just looked like a greengrocer. I find it quite a nice alternative to a trattoria sometimes, especially if you just want to eat light for lunch. Around this time of year in Italy, young kids have adopted America's tradition of dressing up for Halloween, but for many Italians it's still a traditional time of visiting the cemetery to think of family who are no longer with us. Guido always visits his grandparents' graves with his father on November 1st. And in many parts of Tuscany you will find something called pane dei santi, the bread of the saints. It's particularly good in Siena, where they excel in all things involving dried fruit and nuts. This one I got was lightly spiced and made of figs, sultanas, walnuts and olive oil. We took it home to enjoy with coffee and a little butter the next morning. Hard to believe we still need hats and are eating most of our meals outside at the end of October. This past week, I attempted to clear some of the mess in our future bedroom so that someday soon we can finally use the new ensuite bathroom. Guido was away working in Florence, so I set to carrying down all the doors, wood, and leftover terracotta. Buongiorno! Come stai? Bene. Come è andata la vacanza in Grecia? Bene. Che ti do? Serve qualcosa? Con dei cuori? Sì. 2? 3. Sì, ci sono. Sì, grazie. Ciao. Ciao. Look, in here we have cornetti. So we have a baker who drives around our village and delivers. And so she comes around and in a truck, beeps the horn, and then we go out and look at and choose the fresh bread and pastries. And it's well, actually, it's really dangerous because and one doesn't want to have, she comes 3 times a week and you don't really want to have pastries 3 times a week, but then when they're all hot and she's just outside your door, you think, how can we resist? And in fact, we can't. Look at that. Delicious. I'm just going to bring all the tiles down, one handful at a time, into this box. Okay. Oh, what a pretty picture. It could be a painting, couldn't it? And look at this beautiful day. It's so pretty. done 7 trips up and down the stairs so far to put these down in the shed. It's such a shame, but I feel like we have to throw out the lining in these drawers because it's just ruined. But it's a shame because you know the paper really tells the story of the time. Okay. Gosh, my back is sore. I have just carried all of these doors down and then filled up 2 or 3, actually no, 4 sacks of rubbish, and I still have this table to go. Now, do you think we should paint this room the same color as the bathroom so that it gives the feeling of being one continuous space? I mean, it is quite a lovely color. Or do we just go for crisp white, or do we go for something different? Do we go for like a green or something, like a forest green? Look at this, it's just lovely. Obviously, there's a lot to do in this room, but I'm just trying to think now what color will work, because we will probably have the doors open most of the time to the bathroom so that we can let the light through from these 2 windows. And yes, it is strange to have 2 doors to the bathroom, but I didn't choose the layout of this house, and it's what we could manage with the only space that could fit a bathroom attached to a bedroom, because none of the bathrooms in this house are attached to rooms, so it's not sort of like an ensuite. Doesn't look like much maybe, but my gosh, there was so much mess here. Now we have to try and work out where to put this, which we're going to move to another room. Now we have to work out where to put this closet, because it's very beautiful, but it's just not really efficient for our clothes, because it doesn't really hold my full-length dresses or Guido's pants and suits and things. So we're going to try and move it, but I have to wait till we have some help because it's just so heavy. And then there is this stove which we'll keep in the fireplace. It's very old. And this, which we've moved the drawers to a guest room, and we'll move this to a guest room as well, because again, it's just not as functional as we would like for the bedroom. We need to use this space here and get either built-in wardrobe along here, or we're also going to close off this wall here and build shelves in this little alcove here. So I'm trying to move things forward because I just cannot wait to make this our bedroom and then use the bathroom, the ensuite bathroom, which is very nearly finished. I just want to give a coat of sealer, which will make the terracotta tiles a bit darker and also will protect them. Right now they're a bit white because of all the wax that I put on, and I have to give this all a mop and then put on this sealer, which I have here, which hopefully should be very nice. And today it is so windy outside. Oh, you can't see, but it's just such a grey day. So we're here looking for posts to make a fence around the pool.
Vuoi spiegare il concetto, Marie?
Trying to understand what's the best, cheapest, quickest, most effective solution to create a safety barrier around the pool to avoid little Gianfranco from feeling inadvertently brown. So these I think these are perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I like this color more than the ones that are tinged green that are over there.
They're tinged green because they're treated with the thing that is against mold and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I would take these. I don't know how
See?
much they cost. So this is one. I'll just take one to go and ask how much they cost. They might cost a bit because these are more expensive than those ones, but they look a bit more, you know.
Is that the height that will do the net, you think?
1 meter. I would do a 1 meter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you have to stick it in the ground.
Yeah, true. Okay. Okay.
So this is 1 meter 50, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 1 meter 50. So I would put 50 centimeters in the ground and have a 1 meter net.
Okay.
With a big rope as a canopy as your canopy. Why there's still flies.
For safety, we need a solution to fence the pool. Do you guys have any solutions that provide maximum safety but don't look too modern or cold? Guido wants to do this idea of the wooden posts with rope netting as a temporary solution for a few years, but I'd rather invest in something more permanent. Of course, if we do that, we could be waiting months for builders and materials, so that is the disadvantage. But I'm wondering if rope netting, even a meter high, will just serve as an attraction for a young toddler to climb on. My mother suggested glass, but this could make the pool area very hot and it doesn't really fit with the rest of the property. So we're open to any suggestions that you may have. And yes, we're well aware of the dangers. So I received over 800 comments last time about the dangers of fencing it in. So we're definitely putting the fence up. It's just a question of what material to use that can be in harmony with the property.
I love this hardware store. Look, so beautiful. I just love all this. Look, this is bottles for oil. This is for bees. Guido actually wants us to start a beehive. And it could be lovely to make our own honey. So we found this route, but we're thinking we might want something bigger. Although that doesn't look that bad, my love.
But we can find slightly bigger.
Okay. Look what I got to put our wine in. So cute. We both love this store so much. There's just so many projects that one can do.
We celebrated Gianfranco's birthday. I considered baking him a cake, but the reality is that he's not yet eating sugar and his favourite thing after lunch is a juicy pear. So I made him a little mountain of pear, and for the adults I decided to make something much more sophisticated. I had a craving for 7-layer opera cake. This is a French dessert made with almond sponge, espresso-infused French buttercream made with eggs and chocolate ganache. Many recipes make a small amount, but if I'm going to this much trouble, I want to have leftovers, so I used my biggest oven tray. I whisked eggs until pale and frothy. Added almond flour and powdered sugar. I added a little flour. I measure out the sugar so that it's ready to slowly add to the egg whites. Meanwhile, I melt butter and preheat my oven, and then get to whisking the whites until they are full of velvety volume, slowly adding the sugar. This then gets gently folded into the yellow mixture in 3 batches. Then I add the melted butter and pour it all onto the tray. This cooks for no more than 10 minutes. I like to run a knife around just to coax the sponge away from the tray and then leave it to cool. I chose to use decaffeinated coffee, which I then pour out to cool down. Now, more eggs, this time the yolks to make the French buttercream that has no cream in it. I have some sugar dissolving in water. This hot sugar will take care of the raw eggs, but it must get up to 116 degrees Celsius. My cooking thermometer melted, so I did the test where you drop a little bit of the sugar into a glass of water to check the consistency. Then, when it is hot enough, you gradually add it while whisking. Of course, most people make this with a stand mixer, but I'm here to tell you that it is possible with a hand whisk. I also added a little of the cooled coffee. At a certain point it became a little rough, so I ran hot water on the side of the bowl for 30 seconds and whipped it until it turned glossy and smooth like this. Now for the coffee syrup. I took some of the coffee I made before and heated it with some sugar. To cut my sponge into 3 perfect pieces, I used a bit of paper to ensure my measurements were equal for each cut. And now we begin by spooning sweet coffee over the almond sponge. Not too much to drown it, but just enough to add flavour. It's not a dry cake, so it didn't need moisture. Then the coffee French buttercream. Then the next layer of sponge. More sweetened coffee. And now I chose to make my chocolate in 2 batches because I don't have a microwave and you really want the chocolate to be just melted when you spread it on. Some recipes use oil and I do wonder if that makes a glossier finish, but I only had our new olive oil and the flavour is a little too intense for this particular dessert. Once the butter and chocolate are melted over the hot water, I spread it on with great pleasure. Now another layer of almond sponge. More coffee syrup, more buttercream. And at this point you should refrigerate until the cream is quite firm. But I only had 15 minutes to let it cool in the fridge because I still needed to finish the cake, make a slow-cooked ragu for lunch the next day because Guido's parents were coming for the birthday, get Gianfranco fed and bathed and to bed. And so I put the next layer of chocolate on a little early, but I don't mind a bit of texture in my top layer. Sometimes when it looks perfectly smooth, I think it can look like an industrial cake. Then it goes into the fridge overnight, and the next day I trimmed the edges and couldn't wait to taste all of those layers of deliciousness. Meanwhile, my parents returned from Mallorca and much progress was made on the little cubby house. Thank you all for your suggestions. We put a frame inside so that he can't jam his fingers when closing the shutters. We also put lots of knobs so that he can close and lock and open all the shutters by himself. Of course, a little bell at the front because he loves to ring our front doorbell, and this one he can do on his own. I bought a yoga mat and my father cut it up and just stuck it to the floor so that it's nice and soft landing if Gianfranco falls down. He loved exploring the little house on his birthday. Later on, we made a few modifications, including a ramp so that he can walk up to it and then stand outside and ring his little bell, and also a door to stop animals from going inside at night, because we did find that was a problem the first few nights.
Amore! Bravissimo! Auguri Gianfranchino, tanti auguri a te!
Sofia. You have an entire pair for you.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed even 30 seconds of this video, please consider giving it a like and leave me a comment. You know I read them all. Thank you to these names on the left here, my patrons, the viewers who donate to this YouTube channel. I will see you all next episode. Thank you for watching. Alla prossima.